I'm learning to understand that it's okay to not always be perfect.
Gotcha.
But I've always struggled at doing the most, going the furthest that I need to go to prove a point. Because like you said, that's what we were taught. Yeah. Knowing that I can handle this, knowing that I can, I can handle this, I can go further than that. I know more, always trying to go beyond the minimum, right? Because that's what we feel like we have to do. So every day, like, it's like
some pimping, man.
This the coldest podcast you'll ever hear. The way we coming with it, people witnessing greatness. Be a part of the journey. I would say it's perfect timing, but it's God's timing. We locked in a time capsule with this one. We got timeless topics. Guess what? I'm your mother's favorite host. Your little brother's OG. I go by the name of Armand Lindsay, but the neighborhood calls me Big P. I want to welcome y'all to Big Boss Talk, Season 2, The Rebirth. Let's ride, and welcome to a Black Man's Thing.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Armand Peanut, whatever you want to call me today. We here with another episode of Big Boss Talk, the podcast. Man, I have an exciting guest, a high school classmate that, like I told her before we even hopped on, we just been kind of keeping tabs. Social media, the great thing about social media is you can always keep tabs and pray for people and wish well for people from afar. And that's what we've been doing over here, me and my wife. Just been seeing her and her husband's growth and just watching them from afar. And they're doing, a phenomenal job. Like, when we watch them, we was like, man, we want to be like them when we grow up. So it's just like one of those guests that I really and truly love. I think everybody will learn something from this guest. And she's just a beautiful person inside and out, and I couldn't have a better guest to be on the show today other than Sierra Schoultz. And Sierra, what I want you to do is I want you to tell everybody what's up.
Okay, hi everybody. Hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah. So yes.
Armand.
Don't
keep it.
Keep it. We're gonna keep it where everybody don't know that part. But nah. I appreciate you hopping on. And so what we like to do is I'm going to go into how we like to start the podcast. We always are going to start with two truths and a lie. I think it's a great icebreaker. I think it gives people, an opportunity to guess and, maybe be a part of the game. So give us your two truths and a lie, and I'm going to guess the lie.
Okay, so I love hot wings. Okay. I am an outside person.
Okay.
I have 2 dogs.
Wow, that's really good. And that's really good. Yeah. So now I'm about to break this down, right? Former athlete, I'm going to break this down. So number 1, hot wings. That is not a lie. And the reason why I know that is because in middle school, Sierra used to tear hot wings up. With a hot weenie now. The only girl I know that will eat a hot weenie, Big Mama, with the wings. I'm like, okay, nah. So I know that's the truth, right? Number 2, outside person. You are definitely an outside person. You and DeAndre do a lot of stuff outside. Hiking, riding bikes. Come on now. So definitely outside. And then the last one, I'm like, 2 dogs. I know you got a dog. I think it might be a golden retriever or something like that. I'm not sure. But 2... That's a lot. I'm going to tell you, the golden retriever having 2 dogs, that's a lie. You got 1, but having 2, that's a lie.
You're right. You're a little quiz.
You did try. You tried. And that was really good because I was about to say no dogs, but then I remember you had a family photo, and I think I saw the dog or something in there. So I know you got a dog, but 2, I was a little questionable.
My baby.
Yeah. How old is the dog now?
He is 2. I feel like he's gonna be a baby forever though, because he's a big baby.
Yeah.
And everybody comes to me and they're like, "Oh, you have a white person's dog," or "You have this." You have that. No such thing.
Yeah, don't talk about my baby like that.
We talking about him.
Yeah, you gotta be protected. Nah, I love golden retrievers. They super smart. But just getting into the podcast, right? I'm gonna give everybody the rundown. So we got again Sierra Schoultz, age 27, career job. She's a contract officer for the Department of Air Force. Wow, college degree, University of South Carolina, Aiken. That's the college she went to. Her degrees are in political science, and then she has an MPA, Masters of Public Administration, if you don't know. And she's been 3 years in her profession, starting, in August. So,
Yeah.
break that down for me as far as like the degrees. Like that's super impressive, but that's also something I never knew you could get a degree in political science and then the Masters of Public Administration. How, what made you go in that direction as far as like getting your degree and what to major in?
Yeah, so what's funny is that I've always wanted to be an attorney. So I don't know if you know that about me, but since I was like probably 8, I've been screaming like I want to be an attorney. And so when I actually went to school and went to college, I had a mentor who actually told me like that's being a majoring in political science is the best major to do if you want to go to law school. And so I kind of took that on because I wanted to prepare myself as best as possible.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason why I took that up.
Okay.
And then I interned, I prepared myself. I always wanted to be a prosecutor, specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did internships at the solicitor's office in Aiken, and I was like, okay, this is for me. But in the back of my mind, I always thought about, like, my biggest question was, how much do you make in this county?
Yeah.
Because I know that it's important to do what you love, but I also want to be able to be smart. Like, you go to law school and you get some form of loans, like it's expensive.
Yeah.
And then you're not being compensated the way that, it just don't pay out the way that you want it to.
Right.
And so like I asked that question and that almost took me back because they don't get paid that well, specifically in that county I can speak for.
Gotcha.
And so, but that still didn't discourage me. So I actually moved to Ohio after that.
Okay.
And started working for a law firm, and I was gonna, start studying for the LSAT and then apply to a law school right off the bat.
Right.
And started working at this law firm, completely hated it.
Oh.
I mean, I really just, it took me back, mainly because I'll tell you this, I started learning about myself a little more. I started realizing that I wanted to be married, wanted to have kids, that balance. Like, I've seen those attorneys, and it also depends, I'll say this too, the type of law you practice. And
Gotcha.
I was specifically in personal injury. You have to work, quite a long time or a lot of hours in order to make that big money.
Got it.
And so I kind of that took me back a little bit, but I knew that I didn't like what I was doing at that moment. And I knew that I was so ambitious and I wanted to do more, and I needed to, at that moment, find my way.
Yeah.
Right. So I started doing so much research. My husband's stationed, or he was, Air Force or whatnot. So at that time he wasn't married, and I heard so many people, like his peers, talking about, okay, so there's something called contracting, right?
Gotcha.
And you can definitely go into, this career field with your bachelor's degree, but it's always better to have your master's, right? Mm-hmm. And you get paid, you go in, making more money and things of that nature. So I'll go a little faster.
No, you good.
Run around.
No, keep talking. Yeah, this is what they need to hear.
About the career, I didn't hear about this. I've never known about this career, which is why I'm so happy to speak about it today.
Yeah.
But it referenced, like, in so many similarities to being an attorney, which I didn't realize. And so in different ways, but more in similar, I would say. And so at that moment, I realized that I needed to go set myself right. And so I immediately started looking into master's and master degrees and what I can take up that will follow my background.
Wow.
And so public administration hit me right on. Like, it's either that or MBA.
Yeah.
And so I took that up, and I went for it. I graduated a semester before, early, because I just really wanted to get into this career, you know, and I knew that it took some time. And so that's the reason why I took up both of those degrees, and it landed me here.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That I'm glad. Don't ever say you're gonna speed it up, because we just went through like almost the whole interview, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna break it up into pieces, right? On the things that I heard. And the number one thing that I heard was you had no idea, obviously, about this field that you're in. Can you tell me? Can you tell me what's the issue with that, and then how do we put more awareness on some of these careers that people may not know about, and you just so happen to kind of walk yourself into? Because I'm pretty sure there's somebody that's in high school getting ready to graduate, and maybe, in my opinion, I still think that's super young to tell people like, hey, you need to start figuring out what you want to do, things of that nature. Because you said I had to learn things about myself, and then once you learn things about yourself, you knew, well, this might not be for me because I need X, Y, and Z, or I want to do this. And so you had to restructure what you were doing and then figure out, all right, this is the route I want to go. So going back to the main question is, why is that such a big problem? And then how can we fix that problem, as far as how can we bring awareness to what you do, or awareness to, your specific field, or what do they need?
Yes. So I think the biggest issue, and it's such a good question, but it's like the resources, for one, like,
Okay.
I think is not really put out there so easily to find. And for one, you have to be also around like an Air Force base, or like Navy has contracting as well. So like if you are around those bases, you may come across it, like if you ask those good questions,
Right.
or I think that's key, like stepping out and asking people questions, going to organizations, because that's what I had to do.
Right.
It wasn't a walk in the park. I wanted to know. I wanted to know not only about that career, but other careers that were out there that were similar to. So I think, to answer your question, is that the resources aren't really the best sometimes.
Got it.
And if you don't follow up, or if you don't do a little bit more research on your own, you may not get what you want, or you may not find out, and that's scary.
Yeah.
And then two, I think like you just have to be in the right area, obviously, because you can't just, unless, I will say, there is contracting like at companies too, like it's not just the government.
Right.
But I would definitely say those two are the biggest issues in not knowing about the specific career.
Right.
For sure.
So I know a lot of people that do the public administration route, right? And the main thing that they tell me is that the public administration degree is very wide, or it's very broad, and you can go into so many different things, and that frustrates them the most, because now they're 26, 27, and they're like, I honestly don't know, what I really want to do. Like, I know I'm in here doing these policies, X, Y, and Z, but I don't think I really want to do this. You know what I'm saying? I might want to be on, the different side of public administration. And I was just like, I was in awe, just because I'm like, that's crazy, because you really don't, like, unless your school just, gives you those resources where you can go talk to people and you can just say, hey, what do you do? Or how much money do you make? People that really will be honest with you and tell you up front, like, well, I'm looking for this, and if I know you're not making that, then I honestly don't want to do it. Or it's like, well, I'll give it a try, just because I didn't know it was out there, and then you end up falling in love with something. But it really saddens me that it's not a lot of resources, within the colleges that, help you define what you really want to do. And it just seems like it's a very much trial and error. And that's why I always believe, like, your story, hearing you talking, how you were just like, it wasn't a walk in the park. I really had to put myself out there. And I think those are skills that you learned at a very young age. I know you played sports, and I know you understand the aspect behind going for what you want. Not everybody has that skill set, right, to go get it and put themselves in that room to ask the right questions. And it's not their fault. They just wasn't raised or built like that. And you were. But I always believe that, God will take you through, or put you around people for a specific reason. And it's crazy, it's crazy that how you came into your situation just by the hustle and the grind and just being around the right people. So that's amazing to see, and just really, one of the biggest aspects about the podcast is to really give people, help to understand where they can go get those resources if they're not given at their college, because people know how to put you in position, or they know what resources are out there because they've been through this whole, situation. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning, and I remember you talked about, you said you had a mentor. How important is having a mentor?
It is so important. I have two mentors to this day.
Gotcha.
So I had one in college, and then I immediately, once I got into this career, I reached out, and it was important for me to know and ask those important questions to people who have been here, done that, who are in this career, can help me maneuver throughout this, ask the right questions, know what to pay attention to, because in contracting it's so broad. Mm-hmm. There's different type of contracts that you do depending on what office that you're in. And so I needed that. I'm a type of person where, and I think that all people should know, that it's okay to ask questions if you do not know.
Always. It's
okay to lean on others who have been there. And that's why I'm so proud of you and the podcast that you have and the platform, because it's okay. It's okay to figure it out.
Right.
And it's okay to ask the right questions. And so that's what always has driven me to get a mentor. I don't know. I can do the research, I can get the books, I can do that. There's nothing like talking to someone one-on-one who will guide you and don't mind. And you will have a little trial and error, finding the right mentor.
Right.
Or whatnot. But I've been pretty blessed in that sense of finding two amazing women currently who are in my career, who will answer the questions that I have, but also ask questions back to figure out what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. And so, and they are Black women, which I think is important too, who understand that in this specific career, that's not a lot of us. It's a very male dominant white Caucasian field. And so it's one of those things where I immediately was drawn to, I need to ask, those right questions to the right person. In my opinion, not everybody think that, everybody think that it's important to go that route, but that's me.
My thing is, I think mentors are, like you said, absolutely important. And only because, like you said, you don't know what you don't know. But how sweet is it to be like, I got a question and I really need somebody to answer this, versus me sitting online, guessing, figuring well, they said this person said that. I need somebody that is in the field, that's doing what I'm doing, and they can give me a straight answer. Because like you said, it's a male, this is something I didn't know, but obviously it's a male Caucasian dominated field. And now you're in this field trying to, pretty much lay your ground, show them that you're not nothing to play with, right? And so I do want to, go there and just say, how does that affect you on doing your, day to day? My mom always told me we got to be the best. We can't slack.
All the time.
You know what I'm saying? How is that? When you working and you knowing I'm a minority. For one, I'm Black. You're a Black woman. And then I'm in a male-dominated white Caucasian field. What is that like going to work every day?
So it's definitely a learning thing for me, I would definitely say, because of that factor, what I put out there. Mm-hmm. I'm learning to understand that it's okay to not always be perfect.
Gotcha.
But I've always struggled at doing the most, going the furthest that I need to go to prove a point. Because like you said, that's what we were taught. Yeah. Knowing that I can handle this, knowing that I can, I can handle this, I can go further than that. I know more, always trying to go beyond the minimum, right? Because that's what we feel like we have to do. So every day, it's I have to tell myself it's okay.
Yeah.
It's a struggle, but I have to tell myself it's okay. Do your best, be poised, handle your business. But I think that's a problem with Black women. Yeah. And I'm sure Maya your wife. I'm pretty sure she can speak on this too.
Yeah.
But we always have to. We feel like it's more pressure on us to handle the business and do it well.
Right.
but I'm learning. It's an ongoing thing to give myself some grace.
Right. So what's and that was what I was going to say. It's like you got to give yourself grace and allow yourself to breathe and really, it's up to your, I guess I would say, employer to, allow you to spread your wings and allow you to, show that obviously we're different, right? It's nothing wrong with being different, but we can always, I can perform just as well as anybody else, and it's just something that you always got to be aware of and always want to be conscious about. And I really had to ask you that just to see what your thoughts were, just to see how you handle that, because sometimes people will stress out about that constantly and it drops the performance. Or if you're the type of person where that type of anxiety raises your level, builds up. It's like now you messing with somebody that, for one, they got the anxiety, and then they got something to prove. Like now it's like, don't play, you know what I'm saying? And then you start to feel like when somebody tries to tweak you or you say something, you be like, no, this is how it's done. You stand on, because I know personal. Now it starts to get a little personal. So it's like, all right, it's personal now. It's personal, and it sucks that it has to be like that, because I know I'll go into the career field that I'm in. I would say it's dominated by men, but then it's also a lot of Caucasian men, because we're dealing with CEOs of businesses and we're doing X, Y, and Z. So me personally, I was more nervous about my hair, how I look, big guy dreads, and it's just like, how do they accept me for who I am? And really when they sit down, so it's like, I understand exactly where you're coming from, but your pressure is on a whole different level, because you got a double negative from the jump. And so appreciate you for explaining that and just talking to us about how important the mentors is. Can you give us a day in the life of Sierra, what you do for work? Like, what does your job consist of on a day-to-day basis?
So on a day-to-day basis, I can't speak very, very specifics, but I can tell you what it's like in a broad scheme, I guess. But so what we actually do is we represent the government. So there's taxpayer dollars that we are trying to protect. We are trying to save money. We're binding the government with these contractors, small businesses, large businesses, and just making sure that it's open competition. And so once we understand that, there's the FAR, like I mentioned earlier, which is legal. It's literally online, and it tells you, it's like rules and regulations that you must abide by. And so I am modifying, terminating, negotiating, speaking to these different contractors and bidding to make sure that we can find the right contractors who understand the need that we have and making sure it's done right.
Gotcha.
So that's pretty much what I do.
Gotcha.
It's a very serious job. Because you're dealing with money and you're signing your name on something. The contracting officer is signing their name on something that could come back to bite you if you don't do it properly.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
I mean, you got to be on point every day. Like, is that knowing that pressure? Because some people, I'm not saying that to scare anybody away, because some people love that type of pressure. They love to feel that importance of what they're doing really matters. And I feel like what you do on a day-to-day matters, especially when it's dealing with tax-paying dollars, right? So as far as what I was going to say is, just far as that pressure, is that something that you really enjoy in your job? Like, what do you enjoy the most, and what do you enjoy the most, and then what are some things that you kind of like, I didn't know that this was in the job, right? If you can explain.
So what I enjoy most about my job is that I've always been a writer. Like, I've always enjoyed like reading and detail oriented, and it's a lot of that going on. But what I did not know was how serious it is. And like you said, like, do I like pressure? I think I do, because I'm trying to always stay on it, get my contracts done before it needs to be done, get my tasks done before it needs to be done, so that the ending of everything is not me making mistakes. That pressure I don't like. Where it's like, now I'm not looking like I'm on my stuff. I'm not So I'm always trying to stay a step ahead of the game. But I think that's what I had to learn when I first started this career is that, okay, there's time for error. Like, I don't want to make it seem like it's like perfection because it's such a learning game.
Right.
It's so many different contracts that are out there and so many different situations that you can put yourself in. But I think the biggest thing is just understanding that it's a serious mission that we're doing and we're dealing with taxpayer money and we have the FAR that we can rely on. And always knowing that you have to refer to this FAR and have something to back yourself up with. But I think I do like pressure. I think that's why I like to stay ahead of the game all the time.
Right. That's amazing. That's amazing. So, what was the interview process like? And I guess what I mean by that is just what are some preparation things that maybe if somebody wanted to get into this field or they got booked for an interview, how can they prep for an interview? And is the qualifications for the job real, right? Because we see a lot of jobs where they'd be like, hey, you need 10 years of experience and you need to have this degree, Is that real, or is it kind of like you can kind of slide with certain things? Is knowing the right people, or you really got to stay true to the degrees and the qualifications? Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will start with the first question that you had about the interview process. So there's 3 levels of it, and I will say they are changing that process of it because they think that it's kind of pulling, and this is only speaking from me and not the government. I'll put that out there as well, but they are changing that a little bit, so it's not as so long, I would say. And when I was hired on, it was 3 different interviews that you had to make it through. And then once you receive that, okay, I have the job, you also have to go through a background check, which is probably the longest part of it all. I mean, in order for you to be hired on, you have to get a security clearance. And so that's a big deal. That takes a very long time to get. And then once you get that, you also have to go through background checks and making sure you don't have any like felonies or, things of that nature. So they really like dive into you before they hire you on.
Yeah.
But I do know that it may not be 3 interviews anymore, but I know when I was hired on, it was. And I know that the security clearance and all that stuff is going to forever be there.
You got it.
So it's really long, but it's worth it. Okay. And then the second question you had was the qualifications and the LinkedIn things necessary?
Right.
And I would definitely say it was, which was a very serious thing for me. But you definitely, I will say this, because not a lot of people know this, but you can have any form of a degree to be in contracting.
Okay.
You must have a 3.0. And I'll also tell you another thing is that they pay $30,000 of your student loans back. So that's what really get a lot of people, because that's nice. Within 3 years, you have to give them 3 years, of course, but they pay $30,000 of your loans, which is nice. But you do have to have some qualifications before you're hired on, such as, like I mentioned, 3.0, 24 credit hours, or a JD.
Okay.
That would make the equivalent. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's true. So LinkedIn is not lying. Okay. Some jobs they be sometimes you be like, you can wiggle. You like, I ain't got 10, but I got 3. Let me slide in there.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So
I will say the experience part of it, like you may not need that part, but definitely the degrees and the GPA and like all of that you must have.
Got it. That's awesome. So, as far as we talk about what you do on your job and you liking what you do, was choosing this career, was it all about the money for you, or was it just aspects in the job that you were just like, I kind of like this, I enjoy doing this, or was it like, you're gonna pay me this to do this? Yeah, go ahead and sign me up. You know what I'm saying? Because I know some people be like, the money, like if the money talk, sign me up.
I'm there.
Yeah, I'm there. And so I just wanted to know, like, was it all about the money, or was it some form of passion in what you what they were offering?
I definitely would say I enjoy my work.
Okay.
I can say that, but the money is nice.
Okay.
The money is nice. You know that you're gonna always get some form of, if you continue doing your duties correctly, there's a pay scale. You will get more money, guaranteed. You know, there's warrants and the stuff that you have to get before you're able to go up an actual grade.
Okay.
However, if you stay, like I'm a GS12, so if you stay GS12 and you don't like get a warrant or any of that, then you're still gonna, there's like a little box where it tells you how much you can make just by staying in that level.
Okay.
So, and you handle your work. So I will definitely say the money is nice. I mean, I can't complain about that at all. And I think it's important to be compensated if you're gonna do your job well. So, I like my job, and I do like the money too.
Great. So we like, it's a win-win across the board.
It is a win-win.
That's good. That's good. And so we're going into kind of like the final few questions of the interview, and thank you for just kind of sticking with us and giving us all this good information for people to really understand what's going on. But once somebody gets into your career path, right? You had mentors. What's a good piece of advice you could tell someone that is getting ready to hop into this career field? Something that you didn't know starting out, something that you had to figure out. But what's one piece of advice you would give somebody starting where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would definitely tell a person that's starting in my career to not lean on your colleagues, but don't reach out and try to at least get to know them on like a work base. Because in contracting, like I mentioned earlier, it's so vast. It's so many different situations you're going to put yourself in. And if you have like colleagues that you gain a relationship with that is quite knowledgeable, right, it can help you, because you can reach out to them and ask those questions, and you guys can lean on each other and provide a clause or those stuff. Like, don't be afraid to open up a little and create a nice relationship with colleagues or what have you, because it'll take, it's nice to have. It's nice to have. Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things that I'll just compliment what you said is having relationships in the workforce, right? You hear so many people, they talk about I go to work and I leave, right? I don't have time to be mingling or talking to people that are coworkers. But I found in, my field of work and obviously in your field of work, having coworkers when you just got that one question is like, I don't want to go to the boss about this one. Let me just see if John let me see if John know the answer real quick. And so it's like, oh, John gonna help you out, and then it's vice versa. So it's like you said, just having each other's back. But that's for me, that those relationships, obviously they may not do anything outside of work, but having those relationships, you never know who's getting promoted next. You never know who's hiring who next. So you didn't want to talk to John, but you got your buddy over here that was working with John tight. So now, John gets into a place of promotion. He's not looking at you because you don't have that relationship. You didn't, you felt like you was too good to reach out or ask for help versus your other friends. So I will tell you, relationships do matter. And just
it do, and I do think it's good to have like a balance. Like have your boundaries, create that. But I think it's all like it's safe. It's safe. You understand, you have your instincts, when something don't fit you well or that, whatever have you. But I think it's a healthy thing to be able to have that. And I think it works out.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it works out a lot because I've been saved a couple of times. So, and I've saved some people too. So it's like,
that's what I'm saying. Many people, and the fact that you have that working relationship, it's not like, oh, you're giving me the answer, I'm giving you the answer. It's just you guys have created a network where it's this. Not everybody, and this is a common thing. Like, not everybody knows everything in contracting.
Yeah.
And so we understand that, and it's a good basis to have.
Yeah, it seems like it's hard for you guys to know everything, especially if things are changing constantly and you got so many different rules and laws you have to abide by. So that's pretty good. And so what I wanted to ask you, going into our last question here, is describe yourself in 3 words. 3 words. What makes
Work related?
no, just
Work
just
related?
you in
Okay.
general, because people know what you do for work, but now it's like, the person, Sierra, how do you describe yourself?
I would definitely say I'm fun.
Okay.
I like to have fun. I think life is, we take things so serious and like we forget to live. So I would like to say that I definitely implement that in my life. If it's something I want to go out and do, I'm gonna do it. If it's someplace I want to go, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
So I would say fun. I would say ambitious. Because I always want to do more. I always want to find out more, learn more. So very ambitious, and I would say,
Last one. It's the money word.
I would say dependable.
Dependable. Okay. I like that. So
Dependable.
we got fun.
It's hard to have dependable people, but I try my best to be where I'm at. I try my best to be there and be present. And whether you're my friends or family or whoever asks me to do anything, like I'm gonna be there. If I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. If I say I'm not gonna do it, I'm not gonna do it. So
your word is your bond, and I will say she's dependable because she was sick. Probably had a little sniffles before this, but she said nope. I'm gonna do it. Get out the way, and I can focus on me later. So she is dependable, and I love that. I love that, and so thank you for those 3 words. If you guys feel the same way, maybe this could be a good career path for you, or maybe something similar, right? But
they can reach out, or I can provide you links or whatever, because I do think that this is a career that most people don't realize they have the qualifications for, or how to do it, or people don't realize about the internships that are placed for people to be able to just like, it's called an internship, but it's really a full-time job. And so that word kind of scares people a little bit. Yeah. So
that'd be amazing if you could do that. If you can send me links, because I'll drop them in the description, right? So people that actually watch the video, make it to the end, they get some nuggets, right? They get some nuggets from you. They get, some. If you could just give us maybe, let us know, what links we can go as far as maybe job applying, maybe internships, and just other resources you feel like could be necessary. And I'll put all those links in the description. I'll explain each description. That way, at the end of this interview, they'll have something to be like, oh, let me go check this out. You know what I'm saying? You could be the person that
they can do their own. Exactly.
Right. And then
they can put it up themselves. Yeah.
Exactly. And so you could be the person that can give somebody their next job. You know what I'm saying? You could be the person that really put somebody in position to be like, I learned this from this person. And they, that was just a blessing that kept going. So that'll be awesome if you can send that to me. And I'll make sure I'll get that in the description and make sure I get it done for them. But other than that, I felt like this was a great conversation. I hope you felt like it was a great conversation. All I ask is, we're going to end it how we always end it. If you can give me one recommendation, or a couple recommendations of people I should sit down with next. People that are dope, that you think are dope, people that you have respect for, people that you just feel like, man, like somebody needs to see what they're doing so we can have more people like them. Give me some recommendations.
So I have 2 recommendations. Okay. One is Alexis Watson. Gotcha. I think she's good because she can speak from the law student that's getting ready to graduate this upcoming May, and like maybe some students or adults, who want to step out and go to law school. Maybe she can answer those tough questions. Gotcha. She is not necessarily her starting out of her career, but she at least have that information. Exactly. And then I have another student who, his name is Rod, and he actually is in chiropractic school. Wow. And so I just think it's phenomenal, like, to speak and ask those questions for those two individual people, and I think they can provide some good insights on what it's like in their world and their potential career that they are about to embark on. So
for sure, you heard it here first. We gotta get them. So we're gonna go ahead and get Alexis and Rod. I know Alexis. I can definitely definitely can talk to Alexis. Rod, if you can ask hubby if he can, work that out for us, or if you can work that out for us and maybe provide I got his I think you sent me his IG, so I'll send him a message just saying, hey, Sierra and DeAndre told me to reach out to you, and if you guys can back me up and say, hey, this guy's a good dude, because who would have ever thought to be a chiropractor, right? Like, kids don't wake up and say, I want to be a chiropractor. Man. Exactly, a black man. The kids don't wake up and be like, I want to be a chiropractor one day, right? Coming where we from, you know exactly what they say. What you want to do when you grow up?
Exactly.
I want to play sports. I want to, I want to do this. The typical stuff, right? It's time for us to get outside the box and be able to show people in a different light. So we thank you here at Big Boss Talk, the podcast. We were so happy to have you. We're going to give you the rest of your time back, and I appreciate you so much. We love you. Do great. Enjoy marriage. Whenever y'all have kids, we'll do another podcast for that. Tell us how it is.
That would be fun.
Tell us how it is to be a mom, and we'll get DeAndre on, but that's just stuff in the future. But enjoy.
We'll wait on you guys too. We'll wear you guys.
Okay, we'll do it like a pack, like a little baby pack.
That'll be fun.
Whenever you have one, we'll have one. I'll do that.
Yeah.
They said
I appreciate you so much.
We had to give them an outro.
And you have a good rest of your night, okay?
All right. Thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. Keep doing what you do.
Let's keep rocking and rolling.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you later.
We here. And we back. They say, Peanut, you so cold. I want to thank you. All the bosses listen to Big Boss Talk. The people listening and watching, we love you over here. We're going to leave the same way we came in. Coming with the coldest podcast you'll ever hear.